Welcome back, everyone,
to Youth Week 2021 podcast series. So today we're going to be talking about what is your utopia and asking each of you what is the change you want to see in your community and how, as young people, can we make that change?
You already know who we are. I'm Naz and this is Sienna, but let's go around and introduce ourselves.
I'm Kayla and I'm a climate justice activist.
I'm Telaan, he, they pronouns.
I'm Emmanual and I'm a visual artist.
Thank you all for sharing.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here today. So today we're going to be talking about our ideal world. So I'm going to start off with asking you guys what your dream utopia is in just one word. Go.
Justice.
Justice, nice.
Inclusivity.
Beautiful.
Loving.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I also want to start by asking, what does Youth Week mean to you guys? We'll start on the other end this time.
So Youth Week actually serves as a week that we actually recognize our young ones who are actually contributing to the community itself.
Youth Week is just really important to shift the focus from older people like politicians onto young people with new ideas and to give a new aspect.
I think Youth Week is a really good opportunity to listen to the voices of the youth and hear their concerns and take action on their concerns.
That's amazing, and I think we really see a nuance of perspectives on what Youth Week means to each of you. And my question is, what change do you want to see in the world or in your own communities? This can be as big or as small as you want it to be. So we'll start with you.
Well, there's a lot of change I want to see. I think the biggest thing is probably climate justice, because we cannot survive without getting justice for the climate, but we also cannot do that without justice for First Nations people, for justice for women, and justice for people of colour and other marginalised groups.
Amazing, thank you.
I think the change that would be really good to see in the LGBT community specifically is a more inclusive movement, inclusive of people from different racial backgrounds, different languages, especially more inclusive of women and of trans people.
I want the only change that I would love to see is more art spaces for young artists and emerging artists coming up. Because young people like me, especially from code backgrounds, it's very hard for them to actually access any studio and stuff like that, especially when you're a creative person. Actually back home, especially someone from code background, something that's creative is not actually encouraged. Whether being a singer or a visual artist, you'll be asked to stop being something creative to become a lawyer or a doctor. Whilst the whole world, not everyone can become a lawyer or a doctor. There are many individual abilities that people love to show the world. So if there are more art spaces, I'll really love it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing then. I think I love the different perspectives that you guys brought in that conversation about the changes, because it can be so big and so small as having more art spaces, and you're an amazing artist from a cold background and you see the need for that, because in our communities, like you said, art isn't appreciated as it should be. Thank you for that. And I guess sometimes as young people, when we want to impact or when we want to see change, it can feel a little overwhelming because we feel helpless because there's so much to be done and we don't know where to start from, right? And it's difficult to come to terms with that.
Yeah, so before we sat down today talking about that and how we feel like it can be overwhelming, before we sat down today we asked you guys to pick the two cards that reflect some of your strengths. So we want you guys to tell us how you might be able to use those strengths to change the community and the world, or how you're already using those strengths to change.
So I said understanding and resourceful, because I feel that I'm very understanding. I'm good at listening to people and being able to see how their experiences and the things that they face can impact them and influence them and what they do. And also resourceful, because I feel that I've got a lot of resources, and I'm able to use the skills that I have and utilize my skill set to create change. And I've done that through the organisation I'm in, School Strike for Climate. So through that I've been able to collaborate with others and create a massive mobilisation of youth.
So I picked intuitive and energetic, and so I believe that I bring an intuitive approach to within the LGBT community and spaces, as well as to from the LGBT community intersecting with common society. So this intuitive approach can really help to incorporate new voices, as well as to try and break down some of the things that queer people or people of colour have to deal with, especially from my own experience, just to try and overcome that, or to come up with ways of dealing with just kind of abuse in general. So that's to bring a new intuitive approach. And I also chose energetic because even though, let's be frank, even though things suck sometimes, I'm just determined to never give up for my people and for my family and just for everything that's important. And as young people, we just can't give up on that. We can't give up in the face of what comes for us. We need to keep going and keep trying to achieve the change we want.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Well, the word I picked, the words that I picked was positivity and compassion. The reason why I chose compassion is like when we love one another, compassion about one another, the world moves forward and there's no negative anything, because if I love you as I love myself, then I wouldn't have any negative thoughts against you. And the reason why I chose positivity is that when you have a positive attitude towards anything in life, you tend to move forward and faster in life. So that's why I actually chose these two words.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was great. I think we really see the intersections of the rich and amazing qualities that young people bring to the table, and a lot of time that's not seen or realized because as young people we're not given the agency to impact change. And I see that the passion through your words, using your strengths to make sure that the world is a better place for you and the generations to come. So thank you so much for sharing. I'm truly inspired. Before we wrap up, I want to ask one or two of you, whoever's comfortable, if there's one thing that you'd tell young people right now, what one message that you'd want to give to them, what would it be?
Some little words of wisdom to pass on.
So just for young people, it always looks like it's going down the drain and everything's doom and gloom, and especially for the climate movement and for abuse from other people, bullying, school, it just looks so bleak. But again, with energetic, we can really push to make a better future for us and to use our strengths and just to push through it, because if I can push through it, then any young person can push through it, really.
Thank you. That's really special.
My words of encouragement I'll give to any young people out there is always be yourself. I know sometimes it's scary as a young person trying out to be who you are or saying this is who I am. It's very, very hard, especially growing up, you are being directed to do this and do that. And you tell them that this is actually who I am an artist, or this is who I am. It's very, very hard. And for example, I'll be like, I am an artist. I will basically show the world. I go everywhere with my book.
Please, yes.
So I go everywhere with my books, and then I show people that this is who I am. I don't hide the fact that I'm an artist, or I have to pretend to be someone else, so that people will actually be like, oh, since you're an African, then you must know how to dance. I love dancing. I prefer drawing to dancing and stuff like that. So these are some of the things that I go everywhere and I show people that this
and
is
you
what
told me
happens
before that one's made from just pen.
So
just
yes.
pen. And that is absolutely
talent.
amazing.
Yeah.
Reworking a medium.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
amazing.
Thank you. So
Yeah, I really agree with when you said that it's really difficult for people from an ethnic background to get into something that's not directly like being a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, that's not prestigious. And you're really showing people, especially young people, how they can make it work.
Exactly. So yeah, basically that's what I keep on telling people. that you have to be who you are, especially with kids. Like we are basically scared of telling someone like us, our parent, that this is what I want to be. And you're even scared of being like, oh, you're scared that they might say that I move out and stuff like that. Yeah, especially with my one, as coming up as an artist, I had to face these two people in my life that I love the most. That because ever since I was a kid, I was being told that it's either become a plumber or a lawyer or a pastor. So my dad was more like, you're going to be a man, you should be a man, you should do things that are tough, like plumbing and stuff like that. And my mom was like, oh, he's smart, he's too smart for that. He should become a lawyer or a doctor. And I'm like, no guys, I actually want to become an artist, and that's who I am. So these are some of the little things that this is when the pandemic comes.
Very relevant. That is amazing. I don't know about you, Sienna, but I'm feeling so grateful just being in this space with these young people. I'm feeling
definitely.
You guys have shared stories, you've shared your passions, and I'm feeling so inspired by the work that you do. And on behalf of Weave, I just wanted to say how grateful we are for you being here and sharing your story, sharing your lived experiences and your passions. You're a great artist, and I think you motivate the next generation to pursue what feels right to them, even if that's sometimes not what ethnic parents or any parent wants. So thank you so much for being here.
We're so blessed to have you guys here and for you guys to talk about what makes you happy and what you're passionate about. It's amazing, and we're so happy that we get to give you that platform to do this, because that's what Youth Week's all about, and that's how we're going to make change in the world, is by having young people have their voices out there. And thank you guys so much for coming on today, because it just means so much to us to have you here.
It does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and tune in for the next episode.